With that, I'm going to introduce you to our panel today, or our speakers. Each one of these people will be talking a little bit about their part of the organization, mostly in the order that you see on the slide. And just, I'll give you names just in case you want to ask questions later. So the format we'll take is that each of the groups will chat and talk a little bit about their organizations. There's going to be some slides that you can look at. And then once everybody is done, then we'll open it up to some questions. So please feel free to save your questions, put them in the chat, or once we get to that point, ask for the mic. So Sarah and John and Alex and Chris are representing BuzzFeed's content org. Sufe is representing BuzzFeed's tech org, and Zena is representing what we call the Biz Org at BuzzFeed. That's the revenue generating arm at BuzzFeed. So you'll be able to see yourself, hopefully, creating content at BuzzFeed or supporting the technology or helping us to generate revenue at BuzzFeed. And then again, you can ask your questions once we get through. Let's start with the content organization. So when I think about the content organization, I think about kind of the bread and butter, or like the obvious things that people think about when they think about BuzzFeed. So we think about the videos that you might see on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or some of the other platforms. And that could be under the banner of BuzzFeed Video. It could be under the banner of Cocoa Butter, which is our brand that focuses on Black content for Black communities. It could be under the banner of Pero Like or Tasty, which not a lot of people sometimes equate with BuzzFeed, but Tasty is definitely part of the BuzzFeed family. Also in the content org, we have branded content, which is one of the ways that we make money, but we make content that's basically an advertising, but it just looks like a regular old BuzzFeed video. In the content org, we also have our social publishing team. So these are the people who aren't necessarily making the video content on a day-to-day basis, but they're informing the producers about what's doing well online. What do people want to see on Instagram? When do people want to see this content on YouTube? What days of the week? So they're publishing our content, and they're the platform experts. And so if you love social media, there could be some correlation there with you. And then finally, we have our written content. So you could do video content for BuzzFeed, but you can also write for BuzzFeed on BuzzFeed.com or BFDC, which Alex and Chris are going to talk about an opportunity there. Yes, there's HuffPost. HuffPost is part of the BuzzFeed family. BuzzFeed News is part of the BuzzFeed family. We're going to focus just on that kind of that lifestyle kind of content, the lists and the quizzes and the this versus that videos and the taste tests and all the things. So with that, why don't we talk about the behind the scenes of video content creation? And Sarah and John, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Gianna. Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I'm doing a whole Bluetooth thing here, but my name is John Norwood. Thank you so much for the brief intro. Been at BuzzFeed for 6 years, and frankly, it's been a place where you could realize the mission of the internet more than any other place that I could ever imagine. I had a couple of stops in digital media before landing here, and why video operations and what makes it pretty special. All video, all content that you film, record, generally is productized based on its distribution channel, where you're going to drop it. You want to take it back to millennia. You had the night sky, you had cave walls, and you were pretty much limited in your real estate because it was either fixed at a point in time or, stuck with whatever tools you carve it in. Advance us many thousand years forward, and we kind of have a limitless bandwidth for what can get out there. And BuzzFeed attempts to achieve that scale. It's going to push a lot of content at all hours of the day, all the time for people to consume. We are finding that the audiences are there, and it's our job, frankly, to figure out a very efficient and clean way to get it out. It's where a lot of the kind of magic happens on stage or on set. So we deploy a lot of technicians and designers. We deploy a lot of cool tech and gear, figuring out ways to manifest really clever ideas, funny, thoughtful, dramatic, evocative scripts and find a way to really entertain the world to bring about that truth and joy that's part of the company's mission. I partner with Sarah, the other senior director on the team, and I'll let her be able to talk a little bit more about some specifics. But what we tend to do, and as Deanna noted, across that broad spectrum of brands at the company, is hire people that are looking to be creators with an audience, creators with a voice, who fully understand how audiences expect to be engaged, and then work with them to create the best path forward to be the most effective creator they can be. Sarah?
Thanks, John. Yeah, so you can go to the next slide. And so I'm going to go over more specifics of who we are specifically here at BuzzFeed. We're kind of the internal production company of the company. We take creative ideas and we really bring them to life. So what that means is we are studio, we are production, we are post-production, we are production technology. If you're not familiar with what those are specifically, studio is the stages, the equipment. That's the physical space that we're shooting in. We also have our studio folks help do offsite stuff, so they'll help coordinate and make sure that all the permits are in place, all of the COVID compliance is in place, all of the hey, did you bring sunscreen? Did you bring an umbrella? It's going to rain. It kind of factors into the planning of the production. So that's going to be one of your first stops, but they are really they're the knowledge base in the cameras. They are our crew. They are a lot of what you kind of think of when you hear the clapboard and see the action. So that we have, I can go into in the next bit. I'll go into some of what the actual jobs in that space look like, just to give you a sense. But then production, of course, is our producers. We have more the line producer side of things. So the technical and the line producers under us are the people who are actually going to be organizing a lot of this stuff and making sure that the creative producers are getting the talent they want, getting the director they want, getting the cam up they want, getting all of the vision and the dream put together, making sure that there's someone chasing and keeping everything, the thread in place, and making sure that we are really moving forward in a timely fashion. We also move really, really quick here. So our productions can sometimes be, most of the time they're 4 weeks or less, which is really, really fast in the production world, because we just like to put a lot of content out. We like to bring a lot of joy to the world. So we gotta keep moving always. So that in general, our productions team, although they're not technically creative producers, they're very creative in the way that they're problem solving, coming up with new ways to do things, making sure that we're getting things done in the best way possible. Post-production, pretty standard. That's assistant editors, that's editors, that's media managers. It's anyone who's sort of, making the video. I'm a former post-production person, so have a little bit of a soft spot there, but I hate it when you say fix it in post. That's not a term any of us want to hear, but we always do it. We'll always get it done. So our post-production is fully fledged. We have things moving directly from the studio into our media drop stations, ingesting all of that content, and then immediately starting to prep and to cut it. And we have some currently, because of COVID and the restrictions there, we do have a lot of on-set presence still. So we're still having that flow coming in through, but in a very safe way. And we have a lot of at-home editors, which is great for a lot of people now, because it means we can employ folks across the country, which has been really, really amazing for us, because we, it doesn't limit us as much to this very isolated, LA and New York standpoint that we were in the past. So we're actually, we feel like it's expanded our world a little bit, especially in post-production. And then production technology. So these are the folks that are less glamorized. They're way more behind the scenes. I have a soft spot for this stuff. It's the nerdy stuff. It's the tech stuff. It's making sure that everything works. Their job is done well when you don't know about them. They're sort of like the IT of video, so they're making sure that our cameras are working properly, making sure that our editing systems are working properly, and our computers and hard drives and our servers and our remote servers and the cloud instance to make sure that we can edit remotely and all that stuff. So yeah, that's in a nutshell who we are. And you can go to the next slide, please. So we have a bunch of open roles all the time. They're sort of rolling on a constant basis. So you do have to check out the job page on a fairly consistent basis. But for right now, and I did drop some links over to Nicole for specifics for a stagehand, assistant editor, 3 different video editors, and I didn't drop the creative producers one, but I can get that. So if you apply using specific links, then we'll know that you applied from this program, and it'll just be flagged in our system, so we can like track it all better and make sure y'all are getting your resumes are getting seen. So it's if you do apply to any of those, just make sure you use the specific link that I had sent over to Nicole. She had just dropped that into the chat there. Yeah, so essentially stagehand, that's going to be on that stage team. That's someone who is going to be really on the ground working, making sure that like things are getting done. Assistant video editors, that's your first step to becoming an editor. That's going to help you gain the skills to get to that video editor position. So you're going to be doing a lot of prep, a lot of ingest, a lot of like some of the media management, but helps to come to that role with an understanding of editing software. We use Premiere. If you don't know Premiere, a good way to learn that is by starting off as a media manager, which we don't unfortunately have any current open roles. We just filled those roles, unfortunately, but we do. That is something that we do fill quite frequently. So that'll be in the keep a lookout section of things. And then we do have 3 different video editors that we're hiring for right now. We're hiring for Celeb, Multiplayer, and Worth It. Those are we try to pair specific editors with channels to make sure that we like have like good pairing of like the editor with the producers, but really folks work on a bunch of different things, so it wouldn't necessarily be exclusive to those. And then there's some creative producer openings that we have. There's I think 3 or 4 of those, but I'm not sure, and I would need to like double check since that's not directly under me. And then keep a lookout. We always have cast and crew incoming. Cast if you want to be in a BuzzFeed video, there's casting calls I know that sometimes go up. I don't think those hit our website, but they do hit a few others, and I can get more details on that. But crew is 100% something that we always need. Really good way to get in on the ground floor. You know, like getting in on set is a great way to do that. Media managers, again, like I talked about. Production and post-production coordinators, that's going to be way more on the like planning and logistics side, getting up into that line producer and supervising post-supervisor side of things. And then working with Unsolved, Celeb, and Multiplayer again is as far as like the editors go. We're also like scaling up on those sides of things. And we're going to see growth in all 3 of those teams. Yeah, and that's us.
Awesome. Alex and Chris, do you want to take it away and talk a little bit about BuzzFeed.com and the opportunity we have with the fellowship there?
Yes. So my name is Chris Hudspeth. I've been with BuzzFeed for, I think like 5 years, going on 6, or maybe 4 going on 5. I started as a junior staff writer and went to staff writer. And most recently, I've been co-managing the editorial fellowship with Alex Nadis. The editorial fellowship is pretty much for writers. So if you go on BuzzFeed.com and you see the lists, the quizzes, the experiential posts, like I tried this skin routine or workout regimen or what have you, this is that type of stuff. And we can go to the next slide. So the fellowship, the editorial fellowship, is split into 2 parts. And the 3-month part, when we say boot camp, it's more about pacing because it's like a lot at first. And it's basically a focus on how to do things like format within our CMS, how to use Photoshop to your advantage, how to use our image builder tools, create thumbnails. It's like all these different details are kind of coming at you quick. But everything is taught, or each class is led by like someone at BuzzFeed, some BuzzFeed staff who's an expert in that area. So you'll learn quizzes from someone who is like spectacular at quizzes. You'll learn how to write up trending TikToks from people who do that really well. So yeah, at the beginning, you spend those 3 months learning from the best BuzzFeed has to offer in all those areas, and then you get to do it yourself, and you get to apply everything you've learned. And that's where part 2 comes in, which is the remainder of the year. And it's a lot of self-governing, a lot of freedom, and you apply what you've learned. It's a great opportunity to be creative, and then you get to evaluate and assess how your work is going, and you can make those adjustments, because ultimately the goal is to work efficiently and master different topics and formats yourself. A lot of the time people find a thing that they're really good at and it becomes their specialty. It's just like a natural way things work. So that stretch after that initial 3 months is where you'll probably find out like the areas, one, that you enjoy doing the most, but two, what you're really good at. And then down below, you'll see we have a couple roles that are currently being recruited for a fall class. And the first one is a trends and current events role. And it's got a focus on social storytelling. So if you have an interest in writing stories about things that are happening on and offline, if you're heavily involved in cultural conversations on social media, and that could mean discourse happening on Twitter, or a trend on TikTok, or just like a compelling story about a celebrity, that would be a fit for you if you enjoy writing that type of thing. And the lifestyle role, also, by the way, both of these cover a much broader range of things. This is just like what they have a general focus in. The lifestyle role is more of a focused effort to write on things like wellness, or food, fitness, mental health, sex and dating. You can cover a bevy of topics. You can interview experts on subjects. So yeah, like the stuff like trying a skincare routine or a fitness regimen. That's more a fit for this spot. But again, both roles are not like, you're not strictly covering these topics. You can write about pretty much whatever you want. And sometimes there's just a general one that you will see pop up on the job listings, and that is all encompassing. And as you'll see that little note below, we recruit every 6 months. So the specific like focus for the role might change next time, but these are the two that are currently up right now. And these are for classes that will be starting in late September, I believe. And but you'll see it pop up again down the road. So that's what we have right now. And then we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So yeah, if you're a writer, by eager to learn and grow, it's just, you get early on, you get a lot of feedback, and you have an opportunity to just like soak up a ton of information in those first 3 months. And so it's about just being receptive to that feedback and applying it to improve and develop your skill set. And then curious and experimental. Once you learn how like our CMS works and what different tools we have to make quizzes and what features are available, it's a lot. It kind of expands your creativity, because right now you might not know like what the options are in building a quiz. But once you get in there and test things out, you can be really experimental. And I think the more curious you are, the better. That's how you make discoveries and come up with new formats. And then being collaborative. It's kind of tricky right now since we're not in office, but generally BuzzFeed's a super collaborative place, and you'll find it even now, even over Google Hangouts, you'll find plenty of opportunities to collab with other writers. And then just generally a good person. I think that kind of goes without saying. But if you ask most people at BuzzFeed what their favorite thing about working here is, a ton of people say it's the people. And yeah, it truly is. There's just like a bunch of kind and thoughtful interesting people here. And it's just like a great opportunity to be your authentic self and write things that interest you. So that's my spiel. I will pass it over to Alex for the next slide.
Thanks, Chris. I am Alex. I'm editorial director for BuzzFeed.com. And as is kind of a common story at BuzzFeed, I actually started as an editorial fellow myself 8 years ago, a little over 8 years ago, which makes me ancient here, like just part of the furniture at this point. But the fellowship is near and dear to my heart, not just because it got me into this place, but I've also gone on to run fellowships. I also ran a video fellowship at one point. It's just fellowships in general are a sort of system and a program that BuzzFeed feels really strongly about. We want to just bring in new voices, help train them about what we've learned, but also help bring their perspectives onto our site and onto our platforms and onto YouTube and et cetera. So this slide is just the tip of the iceberg, my friends, for the kinds of things that you see fellows create. We just wanted to highlight a couple of different topics and formats and approaches. You can see things about the intersection of sort of identity and pop culture here. You see literally just sort of trending news stories about things happening in the world. You see things happening online, as Chris said, like, a TikTok story that goes viral. What's the story behind it? We try to train people to reach out, get quotes and build a whole story out of it. And then you see just like a super unique and interesting and random quiz, which is also like really fun and fascinating. So this is truly just a few of the ways that people can sort of express themselves and as Chris said, sort of bring their authentic selves to this role. It's something we really strive for in bringing on fellows. So go to the next slide to sort of talk about a little bit more about why I think this is a great gig. Obviously, I'm biased, not just because I work here, but because I was a fellow. But I actually also think that BuzzFeed fellowships are unique in the industry and in digital media in particular, because first of all, just the scale of BuzzFeed is just massive. We're just one of the biggest digital media outlets, and you're going to be writing dozens and dozens, if not 100 posts for us as an editorial fellow. So you're going to get not only a ton of practice and chance to sort of hone and improve your craft, but you have a huge platform of people that you're writing for and an audience that we have across our social networks. And so the amount of clips you'll get, the amount of times you'll go viral, and frankly, you're going to fail a lot too, but you're going to learn from all of them, right? So just the combination of the platform we have with the opportunity to publish directly to it is just really huge and really unique. Also, I always make sure to say this, you're not going to be getting someone's coffee. You're not going to be transcribing their interview. You're not going to go fax someone. I don't know why I said fax someone that hasn't existed in 30 years, but I'm showing my age here. But you're going to be making stuff. You're going to be making your own work, right? Like you're not going to be someone's assistant. So feel really strongly about that in how we design the fellowship program. We want people to be able to show what they have, and also strongly believe that the best way to learn and improve is to actually just do it and make your work and get feedback from the audience and change your approach next time. So that's huge for us. Also unique, I think, for us is, even though a lot of fellows come in really junior, we really expect them to bring their own ideas and their own inspiration. So sometimes you might get an assignment, but 90% of what you're going to be doing comes from your own brain and your own pitches and your own ideas and the feedback that we give you from that. So it is a challenge, but it's a huge opportunity, because we're not just saying, here, you're coming in, you don't know anything yet, we're just going to tell you what to do. You really, have an opportunity and a sort of a chance to sort of show what you got. So that's pretty unique as well. And then as Chris mentioned too, like we just have a cool crew of experts who've been doing this for years and have seen it all on the internet. And, there's one guy I can think of in particular who's been here for a while, who I think we ran the numbers and he has like 1 billion page views to his name. Absolutely like unreal scale. So you're going to learn from those people who've been there and done it and can sort of help you grow yourself. And then the room to grow is the key thing. I mean, it's a year-long program. Within that year, there are opportunities for full-time beyond that year come up. We've had people sort of apply for jobs within BuzzFeed halfway through their fellowship, interview for it, get accepted, and then convert to a full-time role. We've had people finish the fellowship and stay on. There's just a bunch of different roles within our team. So there's a big opportunity while you're here for the year or two to sort of get the lay of the land of what opportunities are available full-time at BuzzFeed as well. And the last slide, I think, is just, a couple things that if any of this sounds interesting to you, that you can sort of do next in addition to sort of checking out the links. But this may sound really obvious, but I think it's huge. Like, read a lot of BuzzFeed, especially the trending page. I linked to it in this presentation. I don't know if this presentation is going to be disseminated, but I can also drop the link after I'm done talking in the chat. It just gives you a sense, day to day, hour to hour, like what readers are interested in on BuzzFeed. So you get a sense of not only what we publish, but what's doing the best, what people are actually engaging with. And then not everyone knows this, but we have like really robust community tools, and we have a huge community of people who just make BuzzFeed posts for fun and try to get good at it and try to learn how to make things that will sort of engage people. So anyone who's applying to be a fellow, we actually require to make a couple of community posts, either on a specific topic or just whatever they choose. But I think whether you're applying for not, it's kind of a fun place to poke around and understand like what works for us, and how you can get better at it. And then the third one's pretty obvious, but like another thing you can do if you're interested is apply to these roles. So we linked to a couple slides back, but we'll, I don't know if Nicole's already put them in the chat, but if she hasn't, we can, she already has. Cool. So yeah, go ahead, apply to those. You can also feel free to reach out to Chris or I directly, pretty easy to find. So that's the fellowship. I love it.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris and Alex. There were a few questions that came in. Know that I see them and we can answer them in the Q&A. So we'll read through the questions that came in the chat. Now, you might say, I am not a writer and I like videos, but I can't create them. But I can code, or I can I'm like a data whiz. And so there could be a home for you in BuzzFeed Tech. So Sufe, I'm going to turn things over to you to talk about a different part of BuzzFeed that is equally as important.
Yeah, thank you, Deanna. Hi, everyone. I'm Sufe. I'm a software engineer on the apps team. I've been at BuzzFeed for 3 years now, and I've worked on both BuzzFeed and Tasty apps, but I'm currently leading the BuzzFeed Android team. But enough about me. Let's talk about what you're here for, which is what the BuzzFeed Tech Org is all about. Next slide, please. So you might have seen, you're probably familiar with a lot of our external user-facing products, BuzzFeed.com, Tasty app. You might have our Good Luck Cupcake sticker app. But there's a lot more to tech than just the external stuff. We have a lot of internal tools that actually make our content connect our content to the web. So something like the CMS, which is our content management system, there's a team that is in charge of maintaining that to make sure that writers are able to successfully publish and update and upload all the content that you love and see on our various platforms. We have a team working on programmatic advertising, which is just one source of revenue that makes BuzzFeed money. We also have teams working on machine learning models that work on personalizing your browsing experience, and it provides recommendations based on what you've read to show you what you could read next. So everything at BuzzFeed works to build and maintain services that allow BuzzFeed to fulfill its mission of spreading truth and joy, which I'm sure you've heard already. Next slide. But the big question is, how do we do this? Like, who works on what? How do we work together? And that's what I'm here to answer today. Next slide, please. So let's first talk about how our teams are structured. These are the groups in our tech org, and groups are divided by product, as you can see. So groups can further be broken up into squads, which are smaller cross-discipline teams focusing on narrow scopes of work. So for example, I'm on the apps team, but the apps team is broken up into iOS squad and Android squad, and I'm part of the Android squad. So all of these groups can be broken up further, but these are the general product that they work on. Next slide. And we have many disciplines that are considered part of the tech org. So it's not just coders, but we have software engineering, product design, product management, data science, product specialists, QA, and the newest part of our discipline is product analytics. So as you can see, groups are made up of talented individuals from all of these disciplines, and each discipline has a lead in the group that oversees the work being done. So each group has a slightly different process. We have different meetings and stuff, but we all work together to define roadmaps that meet larger company goals. And to do that, we have to take an abstract mission, form a hypothesis, and turn that into a concrete product. So a quick example is from the apps team is we wanted to increase our user engagement a few quarters ago. And the hypothesis was that on your phone, you have limited real estate. So if we switched up the layout of our app, would that get more interesting content in front of our user without them having to scroll? So that was a hypothesis. We did an experiment on that where 50% of our users had one view, 50% had the other. And it turns out that we learned that grid layouts perform way better than linear layouts on the app, which is why you see a lot of grids in our BuzzFeed app. So that was really interesting. We took that and we ran with it on iOS and Android, and we are looking to do that for a lot of our packages now as well. So every quarter we meet with our stakeholders to make sure that we're all working on the right things and that all the teams are aligned in our vision. And we get feedback from the leadership team to make sure we're all moving in the right direction. We ask for support from other teams during that time. And, you know, from every level, from leadership team to groups to squads, we consider how we can use our resources to help the company and come up with a strategy that gets us there. Next slide, please. So we talked a lot about the products, but it's not all business here. Next slide. We also have a lot of learning opportunities, and because it's not just about what you can build for BuzzFeed, we're very focused on supporting your personal career growth and passions as well. So just to highlight some of the learning opportunities we have here, we have events such as Hack Week, where every summer we take a week to work on non-roadmap related stuff, and we have awards given at the end to see what everybody built. So for example, there was an award for the Enron Memorial Award for most creative theft of company time. And that was awarded to an app that measured how loudly people can scream into an app one year. So interesting and fun projects like that were completed during Hack Week, but it's a great time for you to just experiment with new tech that you've wanted to play with, but isn't necessarily part of the company's tech stack. We also have Tech Talks, which is weekly. Anybody could present at Tech Talk and give a lightning talk about a product that you worked on or a new service that you built in an attempt to spread domain knowledge. We have Design Club, where we have famous guest speakers and internal guest speakers who just talks about the latest and greatest of design. There's a tech mentorship program. So in the 7 disciplines that I showed you before, you could ask to have a mentor in any of those disciplines so that you could learn about the other parts of the tech org. We have working groups, which are non-official groups who volunteer their time to set up a process for the entire company. So, for example, in the past, we've had groups that focused on increasing our accessibility measures and also how do we create better documentation to pass down our knowledge, things like that. And there's ERGs, which is company-wide, not just the tech org, AFAM, Bio, Mi Gente, Out, Parents, Women At. These are all great support systems as you work here. We did have happy hours when our office was open, so hopefully that will be back. But office hours was always really fun as well. Next slide, please. And there it is. We want you to join us. We have a lot of open roles on our job board, so feel free to go look there. But I wanted to highlight 3, which is infrastructure engineer. We're looking for many senior product managers. Those links should be provided to you soon. But I also wanted to quickly talk about our internship class and fellowship. So every summer we have an intern class who joins us. This year, who they just completed their internship, was the first year that it was remote. And in the span of 2 months, they built some amazing products for BuzzFeed. And we normally post intern openings on October. So the class of 2022 should be accepting applications. So look out for that. And we're taking a note from the content team. We never had a fellowship before, but we are currently in the process of planning for our first fellowship class ever. It's still in the ideation phase. We're working to finalize budgets and finding teams that will take on fellows in 2022. So nothing is confirmed yet, but stay tuned. If you follow us on our social media, I'm sure we will broadcast that as long as that's finalized. And if you don't see anything on the job board just yet, we do update our job board on a quarterly basis as we figure out the needs of each team. So keep an eye open for upcoming roles in the fall. Next slide. So if you have any questions about anything I've talked about today, feel free to email me. You could also reach out to Stacy if you have a specific question about any open positions on our job board. Stacy is our talent acquisition manager. We do have an email for internships specifically. And like I said before, follow us on Medium. There's a lot of cool posts that we share. A lot of interns in the past have also shared their internship experience at BuzzFeed on tech.buzzfeed.com. And I've been told that our BuzzFeed Tech Twitter has DMs open. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to slide into the DMs. And that's it from me. Back to you, Deanna.
Perfect. Thank you, Sufe. All right, so we've heard about how you can create content and support the creation of content. And maybe you're like, I appreciate that, but not my thing. And we've heard about tech, and maybe you're like, I use apps all the time, but I couldn't build one to save my life. But you could be a great collaborator, and you could be really interested in the business of BuzzFeed. I know when I started at BuzzFeed, people were like, yeah, these quizzes are cute, but how do they make money? And so the next person you're going to hear from is Zena, who's going to talk about the group that helps to pull it all together and helps us to generate revenue at BuzzFeed. So Zena, all you. Uh-oh. Zena, I can't hear you. Can anyone else hear Zena? Okay. Nope, not yet. Do you have Apple? Do you have the earpods in or something? Weird. Yep, no problem. Nope, not yet. Oh no. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to play around with that. While Zena is doing that, because I'm looking at the time and we're going to run out of time, I just want to let you know if you have questions, make sure you're putting them in a chat, and I'll make sure that we do a lightning round as soon as Zena is finished. You want to try speaking again? Nope, still not hearing you. That's so weird.
I also forgot to plug our fellowship. We do have some fellowships over on the post-production side, and we'll be ramping some more up for production and for stage. So we start those in July, so we start looking for folks around May. So you're never too old to apply. You can be a year out, you can be directly out, you can be several years out, doesn't matter. It's just to help build. So yeah, we'll be keep the lookout for those. They run for 6 months out of the year, and we love having fellows in.
Perfect. Thanks, Sarah. I see we have you back, Zena.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh my God, that was scary. Okay. Needed to keep me on my toes. Okay. So hi, I'm Zena Halapoda. I'm a director of account management here at BuzzFeed. And like I think everyone else on this panel, I have also been around forever, it feels like. My 5-year anniversary will be next month on the 20th. So wish me a happy anniversary. But no, it's been an amazing ride at BuzzFeed. And I have to echo everything that was said before about how amazing the people here are. And that's like definitely my favorite part of this job. But you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about how we make money for BuzzFeed. So I'm glad I'm going last because you guys got to hear about all of the amazing things we do in content and in tech. But now you get to hear how we support all of that with revenue, because obviously money makes the world go round. So let's go to the next slide, if you don't mind. And I'll talk you guys through the different ways that we generate revenue for BuzzFeed within the Biz Org. So the first way is through the way that I think most people think of when you think of, how do media companies bring in money, which is through advertising. So we have a bunch of different advertising opportunities that we do with our clients. So that could be running media on our site. So that could look like display ads or, video that runs before our content, or, native ad units that look less ad-like and more like our site, not being tricky at all. And, there's also custom content. So you may see like a custom, branded tasty video with Coca-Cola and some of our creators. Or you may, see custom quizzes that are trying to get you to learn more about a certain product. And then we also have our innovation team. So they work on, all exciting new things that are maybe outside of the box of these other things that we're talking about here. So that could be custom events. It could be, different ways of working with brands, like building out a new product for them, which I'll actually get to in a second. But there's a lot of different ways that we can work with our partners in just the advertising bucket, but there's three more. So the next one is affiliate. So that is when you might see, an article, 25 things to buy on Amazon if you're a cat mom. And so that is basically meant to get all of our cat moms on that page and shopping on Amazon as much as possible. And we actually get, revenue from Amazon based on the purchases that we drive. And so we actually just redesigned and relaunched our shopping site. It's beautiful. Definitely recommend you check it out. Not trying to get you guys to spend money, but if you do, it's okay. And then the next one is licensing. So, we've built a lot of really exciting brands at BuzzFeed, like Tasty, Goodful, Nifty, you name it. And so we've created actually some BuzzFeed branded products. The latest is interesting. It's a strain of cannabis. I don't know if everyone on the call knows that, but we actually now have a co-branded line of cannabis. And, we have a Tasty collection in Walmart. We have a Goodful collection in Macy's. So, we're using sort of the power of our different brands to help, sell products, which again brings in revenue for BuzzFeed and supports all of the amazing work that these guys on the call do. And then last and kind of, the newest frontier, I would say for us, is our studio business. And so we have a partnership with Lionsgate where we'll be creating feature-length films and content. And Dylan Sprouse is here because he's actually starring in one of our movies, which will be like an LGBTQ rom-com that should be coming out, I don't know, maybe in the next year or so. But yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that we bring in revenue for BuzzFeed. And we have a lot of open roles, which I'll go into on the next slide. But just know that there are so many different ways that you can work in this org. So there are people like me who work directly with clients. There are people like the sales team who work on actually bringing in that money and selling to those clients. There are people like our ad ops team that, put our ads on our site and run targeting and make sure that we're finding the right audiences for the content that we create. There are people like our, distribution team or our creative team or our business operations team that runs, data to see how we're trending towards our sales goals and all of that wonderful stuff. So there's a lot of different ways that you can work in the Biz Org. And I will, in my next slide, get into what is so great about the Biz Org. So first, like I said, we support all of the amazing work that you just heard about through some, money and finances. Also, we get to work with some pretty cool brands. So some of the brands that I literally was working with right before this call are like Glossier and Casper. And, I personally get kind of excited by some of the brands that we get to work with. And, we actually do some pretty cool stuff with them. No 2 days are the same. I've been here again almost 5 years, and I can't say that, there's ever been a dull moment in a good way. We work with a ton of different advertisers and a ton of different, solutions. So there's always something different and variety in this role or in this team. And the last thing is, we've got some pretty cool people in our org. I personally love the people that I work with, and I don't think I would have stuck around this long if I didn't. It's funny, I think the business org, you hear business and it kind of sounds like serious, but I think like the people in the business org are some of the goofiest people I've ever encountered. And we have a lot of fun actually. So it's a really fun org to be in personally, I think. You can go to the next slide. So if you want to work with us, you could be this little penguin heading into your kitchen instead of an office because we're still remote. But here are some open roles that we have available, and I can take you through what these each are. So the first one is account executive. So that would be that sales role that I was mentioning before. So working directly with clients. Oh, my dog is applying for the role, I guess. So that could be, working directly with clients to help, sell in whatever we're trying to sell, whether it's content, media, other solutions outside of that, you have it. And then account manager. So that's the team actually that I oversee. And so the account managers work closely with the sales team, and they actually work to execute the things that we sell. So, say we have sold a really cool tasty video series to, Ritz Crackers, for example, the account manager is going to work with the tasty production teams and creative teams and, our distribution teams to create that content and then get it live on our social platforms and hopefully drive really strong performance for Ritz. And the next one is campaign coordinator with an ad operation. So this is someone, again, who's working with our site and getting our ads live on our site, but also it's a lot more strategic and like data heavy than that. So it's sort of knowing how to find the right audiences, how to, optimize based on the client's goals, whether it's, eyeballs on the ads or clicks to their site or just general awareness of their product. So that's, what the campaign coordinator will do. And personally, I think it's a cool role because, our industry, especially advertising, is going more and more towards data knowledge and understanding how to find the right audiences without, cookies and all of that amazing stuff that you guys are seeing on every website that you click on. And so that's kind of where the future is going, in my opinion. And campaign manager is similar. It's just a bit more senior. That coordinator role is entry level. And then affiliate growth and distribution manager. So like I said before, the affiliate team is the team that works on, creating content that's getting you to shop with our partners. And they are looking for someone who puts, our affiliate ads out there in the world and finds the right people who might be excited about them. And again, uses thoughtful strategic targeting to find the right people who hopefully want to, shop for those Amazon products for cat moms. So that's a quick rundown. I think the links have been dropped in the chat. And one thing I wanted to note is we have hired multiple people from events like this. So please apply and use those links because, again, like our recruiting team is keeping an eye out for your applications. And actually one more other thing, I see a lot of journalism majors in here. I was a journalism major in college and I wasn't sure that I wanted to be a writer, but I did want to do something in the communication field and something where I could, be sort of a storyteller in some way. And so, former journalism major who quite enjoys my life in the Biz Org, just saying. Thank you. I think that is all for me, and I'm going to pass it back to Deanna.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Zena, and really all of the other speakers. We are in the process right now of going through and trying to answer any questions that came up in the chat. There's a couple of things I wanted to call out. And then Nicole, I know that we want to try to take a selfie, but a couple of things I wanted to call out. For a lot of the jobs, we did these custom apply links that will actually show up in our applicant tracking system that we met you at this event. That way we can kind of prioritize looking at your application. So definitely use those links. if for whatever reason you can't use the links, or you apply for a job that we don't have one of those custom apply links, feel free to just throw it in your cover letter, that you learned about it here, or you learned about BuzzFeed at this event, because we can search for those types of things in the application as well. I'm just looking at the chat right now to make sure that we've covered everything. BuzzFeed is currently working from home, and the plan is for BuzzFeed to continue to work from home throughout the rest of this calendar year. And then we'll see what's happening with the pandemic early next year, just like everyone else is doing. But what I do know is going to happen is there's going to be a whole lot more flexibility for people to continue to work from home once we do even start allowing people to come back into the office more widely. With that, Nicole, I just want to be respectful of everyone's time, so I'm going to turn things back over to you. But please, please, please feel free to add us on LinkedIn. You have our email addresses. Take advantage of that. You now have access that thousands of other people who want to apply for our jobs don't have. So please take advantage of the fact that you have our contact information. So I'm going to stop lying now and really turn it back over to you, Nicole.
I want to first and foremost thank you all for taking the time out just to speak with us. As I stated, it was streaming here, streaming on YouTube, streaming on Facebook. So everyone who is interested in the opportunities, our team will ensure that every opportunity that has been shared today will be on the HBCU 20 by 20 platform. So they create unique tracking links so that they know that you all came from this event. Beyond that, we'll also be following up via email. Everyone who has shared their contact information will also share it with you all. So we want to make sure that you all have that open line of communications with the panelists. And as Deanna stated, it's really, really important that you follow up. I think that the people who really take advantage of opportunities, who put themselves out there, who introduce themselves and go above and beyond, are the ones who stand out. They build that rapport and that relationship, and ultimately they end up working at dope, amazing companies like BuzzFeed. I think that we've heard from the panelists their commitment not only to their own professional journeys, but to BuzzFeed as an entity in general. And we want you all to be able to see yourself there. I think when you hear people say, like, I'm approaching my 5th year anniversary, in this day and age, you don't hear about that anymore. So take heed of that. With that being said, we're going to deploy one of my favorite parts of this. It's called a groupie. So you should see a little circle on your phone, on your screen. You take your own selfie and it compiles a large selfie of all of us together. So unfortunately, if you're on Facebook and YouTube, you won't be able to participate in this. But we still do want those who are to just go ahead and take a selfie. So I'll give you 5 seconds to put on any lip gloss if you need it. If you need to fix your hair. I don't have any hair, so I don't have to worry about that. But you can go ahead and deploy and take your own picture. Oops. Okay, I took mine. So we'll give it like 10 more seconds. Oh, someone said they're not camera ready. Oh, you should always be camera ready. Thank you for coming. So we'll give it like 5 more seconds if you want to get your picture in. 3, 2, and 1. So I'm going to close it out. But beyond that, we really do want to thank everyone for participating in this event. To the students, we want you to apply for those opportunities. If you're not a student, also apply for those opportunities. The sky is not the limit. So see yourself at BuzzFeed in real life by taking advantage of all of everything that you heard today. Other than that, I know that we're at 7:01. It's not 7 o'clock on the dot anymore, like Usher said. But with that being said, I want you all to have an amazing evening. Be sure to text HBCU to 33222 so you can get access to those opportunities. And until then, we're going to go ahead and sign out. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.